There are many challenges affecting organizations in the architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing industries today when it comes to technology. The most consistent include providing learning opportunities for their staff, capturing and sharing knowledge, and most importantly, increasing productivity. There is only one platform that can solve all these problems: the Pinnacle Series. Thousands of industry experts trust the Pinnacle Series learning and productivity platform because of its on-demand ability to offer multiple asset types to help organizations overcome everyday challenges they face using technology. This cloud-based solution allows users to fully utilize their technologies by offering 24/7 access to learning and productivity materials. In addition to thousands of pre-populated assets covering the categories seen here, Pinnacle Series is also fully customizable with unlimited private cloud storage, allowing organizations to use it as a central repository to house corporate training materials, best practices, and standard operating procedures. Pinnacle Series comes loaded with workflows, documents, videos, and learning paths available in over 60 languages to keep users productive and find answers when they are stuck. With this platform, all content is searchable through the robust search engine and available in your office, at home, and on mobile devices, regardless of your internet connection. Workflows are ideal for walking people step by step through processes to complete their work. Use them in a production environment as a guide to execute best practices and standard procedures that produce consistent deliverables every time. Documents are a great way to share information such as tips and tricks, standards, cheat sheets, articles, FAQs, and more. Whether it's creating content from scratch or uploading content that already exists, documents allow users to share custom content throughout the entire organization. Easily add Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, and HTML files. Uploaded documents remain in their native format and are completely searchable through the Pinnacle Series search engine. Videos give users a quick way to learn a new task or act as a reminder of something that has been forgotten. Each video includes a searchable transcription to get you where you need to be in the video quickly. Upload custom videos to share across your organization, and during the upload process, you can quickly transcribe your videos with the click of a button. Work groups within Pinnacle Series give users the ability to access specific assets as they relate to a project team or group of people. Each work group contains materials relevant to the group that can be customized with specific details according to company standards or specific project guidelines. Learning in Pinnacle Series is done through learning paths and courses that offer clear outlines to guide users through self-paced training curriculum that address beginner, intermediate, and advanced skill levels. Users can self-enroll in courses to improve their skills or advance their careers. Additionally, managers can assign curriculum to their staff and track how they're progressing. Whether users are following a provided learning path or a custom course that your firm has developed, it's a straightforward method to onboard and provide continuous learning to your users. In addition to traditional learning, users can evaluate their current skills and have a personalized learning path assigned to them to expand their knowledge. Don't waste time force-feeding learning for the sake of learning. Identify skills gaps and work to close them with courses specifically assigned for an individual's needs. The Pinnacle Series Autodesk plugin identifies the command you are running in Revit, Civil 3D, or AutoCAD and offers recommended learning topics. Additionally, you can run Autodesk commands straight from Pinnacle Series materials to ensure you're following best practices. The Pinnacle Series robust reporting dashboard gives you insight into how your staff is using the platform. View high-level statistics like user logins, frequently used assets, and top content contributors, or dive deeper to review learning path progress, time spent learning, and much more. The Pinnacle Series is truly a platform to be leveraged by your entire organization. It comes preloaded with a wealth of AEC content, offers an exposed API to integrate with your internal systems, and is fully customizable. With its easy-to-use interface, you can quickly input your own best practice workflows, standard operating procedures, training materials, and other helpful information. Pinnacle Series. Learn, share, improve. There are many challenges.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining the webinar today. So good morning to you. So today's webinar will be having English. Would you like to join the candidate session on Tuesday as well, or recommend your team to join that session later? Please register that session through the QR code showing on the screen right now. Yes, Okay, so before we officially start, please allow us to have a quick introduction to ourselves. So we are Forida Limited. We specify on AEC solution related product for over 27 years. And we also started focusing on BIM solution for almost 15 years. We have 3 business units. First, we work with our technical partner around the world today as the pursuit we are going to introduce today to provide the first guide BIM solution to the user in Hong Kong. We also have our own technical team. Additionally, to provide training and technical support, we provide consultation service to our customer to help them train the right solution according to their company virtual or requirement. We also have our in-house BIM product team to provide outsourced BIM service to our customer. So here you can see that the product that Forida is selling the product as the offline or sole reseller in Hong Kong. If you have any inquiry or question about this product, please feel free to get in touch with us. And today, we were going to introduce the Pinnacle Series, as you see the introduction in the beginning of the video we are showing. So today, actually, we are very excited and glad to invite the 2 experts from Pinnacle Series here. They're both Otto and Forbes. So they will share how Pinnacle Series can scale yourself and your company style with this powerful platform. So I'll pass the time to Rose now. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. So good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a good Tuesday. My name is Rose Otto, and I am a partner manager at Eaglepoint Software, working very closely with Forida to bring the Pinnacle Series to Hong Kong and the region, and really bring the Pinnacle Series to your organization. So I'm very excited to talk to you today. On me with this webinar as well is Mary Forbes. She's one of our customer success managers. I will let her introduce herself, but first I want to introduce our company and tell you a little bit about who we are, Eaglepoint Software, and what we do. So Eaglepoint Software has been in business since 1983. We, in the past, developed Autodesk add-ons that we have since sold back to Autodesk. And with all that knowledge and experience, with more than 37 years working in the industry, we realized that all those organizations were experiencing the same 3 problems. And Mary will actually go into those problems and talk to you about that and why really the Pinnacle Series was created. But with that great team of engineers and architects and construction managers, customer success managers, we developed the Pinnacle Series, and that's our e-learning platform for the AEC industry. So today we have over 200,000 users, and we have great partners such as Forida that help us bring the Pinnacle Series to organizations like yours. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mary to talk about why the Pinnacle Series was created. But before she does that, I want to have her introduce herself as well. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to send those in the webinar chat, and then we will address those. Mary?
All right, great. Thank you, Rose. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Forbes. I'm a customer success manager with Eaglepoint, and my role is really helping our clients get the most value out of the Pinnacle Series platform based on their unique needs, their culture, and how they want to leverage the system for training and for knowledge sharing, and then really working with them throughout the life of their subscription, including our partners like Forida. So I just have a few PowerPoint slides I would like to take you through today before we get into the demonstration of the platform to really set the stage and begin laying the foundation that Pinnacle Series is your complete learning and knowledge sharing system. We've really geared the solution to help solve these 3 common problems that a lot of organizations have in the AEC industry. It starts with this first idea of continuous learning. Whether it's that new person that's coming on board and into the organization, or that longer term employee that could use some upskilling on a new technology. You all know as well as I do, there's always new versions to learn, new tools to learn, and really keeping up to speed with them can truly be a challenge. And then we can also target on someone's skills gaps and really provide them that personalized training versus just that generic training. So that's where it all started. Where it goes next is this whole idea of capturing and sharing your knowledge. And typically this is framed up around those best practices, those workflows, your standard operating procedures, and documenting those types of standards and then sharing it across your organization, making it very easy for them to access. It's a truly knowledge sharing system. And really the goal is to get the information in there, and then through our cloud-based system, share that information out to your employees across all of your offices so you can make sure that it's findable, it's searchable, trackable. And we'll talk extensively about that as we get into the demonstration. And the other nice thing is you don't have to start from scratch if you don't have those things already created. We have a lot of the out-of-the-box content that you can use as your starting point to copy it down, tweak it, maybe 5 or 10%, and then you've customized it to your way of doing things. And lastly, and honestly, probably the most important, and the reason we're all here at the end of the day is increasing productivity. If you look at your bottom line, if you look at your profitability, efficiency and productivity are very important. And we do everything in Pinnacle Series with that in mind, empowering your staff to find the answers on their own. So those are the 3 main challenges that we find many of our clients face. And as we go through the demonstration today, I'm going to take the time to kind of hone in on each of those and how you can find those solutions through the platform. All right. We're going to start here with a quick tour of the homepage. I know this is your first time seeing it. I want you to keep in mind this page is completely customizable based on your individual users and how you're going to be leveraging the platform. You can update the branding, the colors, and each section that you see, each square over here on the homepage is actually what we call a widget. So you're allowed to move those around, change those widgets, rename them. The whole goal is to make this Pinnacle Series look like it's truly an extension of your organization. Users primarily will focus on the main part of the screen when they first log in. So we want to catch them in this top part here with those searches. The whole idea of I'm trying to find a quick answer so that I can get back to work, quickly run that search, find my answer, and be able to move along in my project. This other area right here, the work groups, we'll dive into that. Those are really set up based on a role or a project that you're on. As we get in and do the searches and go through the asset libraries, there is a lot of content in there. And we want to make things as easy for your users to find as possible. So you get a new project comes on board, pull all the resources into one place, you click on it, and you're off and running with just the content you need at your fingertips. And when users are truly going into that training mode, they can jump right into their courses that they can find right here in the middle of the screen, and it'll keep track of where they're at. So depending what motivated you to come into the platform, it's all easy to find off of this homepage. You'll also notice over here, it knows who I am when I log in. So it presets with all my information, my dashboards here, and I can also personalize it if I come into this area here, and this is where I can change it not only during the sign-in, but also after I'm in here into one of up to 60 languages that we translate the content into. The first thing I want you to note too is that we are in the browser. This makes it very easy to access from any device where you're connected to the internet, including the mobile devices. And as we go down here on the left-hand side, this is an area what we call our news feeds. We want you to be able to quickly link to other content or other resources and platforms that your users may typically use, including the Knowledge Smart system or maybe your employee handbook that's sitting on a SharePoint or a network drive. And then this area right here, you'll hear me talk about assets, asset libraries as we go through the demonstration. Those are really just pieces of content, the resources that are in the platform to help your users out. Between these two lines here is what we consider our custom current client asset library. And our clients can bring in their own documentation, copy down the existing content that's in there and tweak it, various types of content, and we'll dive into those as well. And this is just a quick example of laying it out based on general reference guides. You can even bring in some HR content if you needed to truly have that end-to-end onboarding process. And then the client training, whatever types of software you use, you can actually bring those types of content into the platform and organize it here. If you don't have your own custom content, which you don't have to start out with that, the great thing is below the line here, you can start with all of the out-of-the-box content on day one to truly get everybody up to speed as quickly as possible. We're going to go through the various subscription types and options, but I'll just expand each one real quickly so you can see what's in there. On the Adobe subscription, the 3 key Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop. The Autodesk Library is our largest library and suite of products, anywhere from 3DX Max down to AutoCAD, BIM 360, BIM Management, Civil 3D Project Explorer that we just released recently, as well as Revit. And if a user jumps into one of these asset libraries, they'll be prompted with various versions, which should be years, or they could be sub-products, and they'll be able to quickly see the content that's in here, such as the learning path for the BIM management. If I needed to dive into that full learning path here, you can see that, and we'll go into how the learning path and curriculums work. Many of the workflows sitting out here for the project execution plans. And again, these are all ready to go on day one if you needed to customize them, as well as some of the documents that are sitting out here. Everything that's in this library is customizable as far as the titles as well, because we know not everybody uses all of these software titles. Some of them have been around for years and some of them are new. And you can also turn off the titles that you don't use to truly make this library your own. We have the Autodesk Construction Cloud, which is ever expanding. We're always adding new content in that as well, from the Assemble to the BIM 360, Building Connected, and Plan Grid. There's also some Bentley content on the MicroStation, Open Roads, and the Open Site, BIM Track, Bluebeam, some soft skill training under the business and management skills, as well as Enscape. The global BIM standards, the ISO 19650, we've got a learning path created on going through the ISO standards, the documentation, some of the requirements in there to really help you get a good understanding, as well as some short how-to videos as part of those quick how-tos. Health and safety from a OSHA and safety standpoint to meet some of those requirements. The Ideate software, Lumion, McNeil with the Grasshopper and Rhino, Microsoft suite of products, as well as the Pinnacle Series and SketchUp and V-Ray. So if you get into Pinnacle Series and you have any questions about any of the content, how to navigate the system, this is kind of your home place to go to quickly find those pieces of content. So that is the asset library. And again, as there's titles in here that you may or may not need to shut off, again, you can customize it the way you see fit for your users. So now we're truly going to dive into the platform, and I want you to just kind of imagine that I'm new to your company. And as I start my learner journey with you, you want to get me up to speed as quickly as possible. That's one thing we hear from so many people, is wanting to have that good onboarding process and good experience for those users when they're first joining the company. So from a user standpoint, I get my Pinnacle Series login, I go directly into the platform, and I can go directly into a fundamentals course that's been assigned to me by my manager. I also have the opportunity to self-enroll or be guided into the training. And then I also have the option to be assigned that training based on a Knowledge Smart self-assessment that I did. If you're not familiar with the Knowledge Smart team or the concept of self-assessments, they're really just a series of questions. It is a separate platform sitting out here, produced by the Knowledge Smart team that we have a very strong partnership and integration with. And they have all the out-of-the-box software titles for Autodesk and Bentley. A user takes an assessment. They actually have to have the software from Autodesk installed and use it, and navigate through the questions and open those Revit files, walk through the process. It's a very strong combination of, do you know the technology, and can you show me that you know the technology? And then based on how I answer all 24 questions here, and this is probably the longest, the fundamentals is the longest assessment that's out there. It probably takes most users about an hour to complete. There are some shorter ones, but it's going to run this analysis and determine just where my skills gaps are. So when I get assigned that learning path that is associated with the architecture fundamentals, I'm only going to get assigned the content that covers those skills gaps. So I'm not taking and viewing all 16 hours worth of training. I'm going to show you a little bit about what that looks like when we jump into this learning path right here. This is a Knowledge Smart assigned assessment. It's got the little trophy over here. So it's real quickly indicating to me it's a little different. And as I get into this learning path, I'll see that it's been personalized for me. Right off the bat, the MEP Fundamentals has 14 courses in it, and you'll notice I'm only enrolled in 8. So that means I've already shaved probably about 6 hours off of my training just by taking that Knowledge Smart assessment, tested out of 6 of the courses. And as I get into the 8 that I'm assigned, you'll see over here, I'm going to hit Show All Topics, and I'll go down maybe to this duct systems course here. This is a good example. It grays out everything that I've mastered. So I can skip right down through these introductory, the floor views video, and I just need to watch this duct settings video.
Duct settings. Duct settings affect model geometry annotation.
So as this video plays, I just want you to imagine, you know, that new user coming on board. They don't have to spend a lot of time going through the things that they already know. They can focus on the things that they don't know. And all of our learning paths are set up the same way. Your curriculum is for you over here on the left-hand side, and you can navigate down through all the different videos. There's written material. There's generally a quiz that you need to take at the end of the course. And there may be some data sets mixed in there as well that go along with the videos as they're playing. Now, a couple things to point out. There's transcripts over here on the right-hand side, and those do get translated into the language if you change them. The audio portion of the video will still be in English, but then the transcript will move for you. And then you can speed them up, slow them down, depending on your speed of how you're learning. The other thing to mention is as a user goes through this training and I complete the video, I'm going to get a green checkbox in here indicating to me that I've finished this training. So we all know people don't have time to sit down and do hours and hours of training, and they have a small chunk, that microburst of training where I have 30 minutes or an hour or less a day. They can go in, get through what they need to, and then get back onto their project work. And as I go in and out, it keeps track for me. Now let's imagine this is more on the user side of it. It was based on that assessment. There is a managerial side of the LMS here on the back end that many managers are interested in. Certainly as I manage teams, I wish I would have had a system like this, because I can come into the backside here and do a couple of things. Manage those assessments and learning path assignments here, as well as quickly see those learning path reports to see who has completed the training and where they're at in their learner journey. All of the raw data is quickly at my fingertips in these high-level dashboards, as well as going behind the scenes here to see everything that I have going on in my company with everyone, what they're enrolled in, what types of training. I'll just use myself as an example to come down in here. And you can see I've been enrolled in a lot of different learning paths throughout the year. And I can come in and see where I'm at, which ones I've started, which ones have been completed, how much of the content did I review, if there was a quiz in that learning path, how did I score on that quiz? And all of the data that's in here is exportable into Excel as well. The other thing worth mentioning is, let's imagine that this MEP Fundamentals course is great for you out of the box, but you've got some specifics for how you do things, maybe ductwork or walls or certain things that you want to incorporate into your onboarding course. As I mentioned earlier in the demonstration, you could actually copy this entire learning path down, and we have an area in here where you can manage that content. I'll just open it up briefly to kind of show you what the back end looks like here. As with all of our content, we have the tabs spelled out separately. You can come into the documents area, drag and drop a few PDFs or written materials, or maybe a presentation that you've put together into this area. Maybe you have a video, a webinar that you've recorded, such as today's webinar or another training session. You can upload those MP4s, and you do have unlimited cloud storage, so you can put as much training as you want into the platform. And then once you have your documents and your videos added in, you can build them into the learning paths. You'll see here this new from public allows you to copy down all of those learning paths that you see, and then mix your public content or our public content with your custom content to truly have your way of onboarding, your way of doing things throughout the organization. And it's just a couple clicks and certainly very easy to do. The other thing I want to mention, this live events area here. We know that e-learning is not the end of someone's learner experience. We really go beyond that into the fact that you can have one-time events, live events that are sessions or multiple sessions to go along with your e-learning, set them up, invite users to attend those sessions, and then track that they attended this session, maybe send out a survey or some additional tracking information. And you will see all of that inside of the Learning Center here. All of the events that have been scheduled across the organization. And here's just a quick look at things I've been invited to, things I've signed up for, things that I attended in the past. And then you can also associate the recordings of those webinars. If there's a recording in here, I can click on it in the calendar and view that recording very quickly just from the event potentially that I missed. Other things worth mentioning in here for the user standpoint, again, I can dive in and out of the training that I'm involved in. I can also see very quickly my status. I mentioned the learning reports and the management side of it. Users can also see how they're doing, so I can keep track of my own progress. And if I needed to download that enrollment history into a separate PDF to share it out, I've got that capability. If I wanted to see how I did on a specific course, I can see my quiz answers, detail by detail, each of the question, how I answered them, or potentially which ones I got wrong. And then also download that certificate of completion. So it's truly that all-encompassing learning management system for their users. So that is the learner journey, everything from the user experience here, jumping in and out of the training, seeing the live calendar events, and being able to customize and truly make those courses that the users are enrolling in, being enrolled in or self-enrolled in, the information that you're looking to have them go through to upskill and learn the new tools. But we all know that learning itself is just a very small part of someone's journey. Much of their time is truly spent using the Autodesk products, using Bluebeam, working through the projects that they have on their plate. And that's where the true value of Pinnacle Series really comes into play, because all of those resources that I viewed as part of my training, and I'm going to do a quick search here, whether I'm, MEP focused, civil focused, Revit focused, all of this content is available for me outside of that learning path, because we know we forget things. We go through that training, it's information overload potentially during that onboarding process. The true benefit is being able to quickly find that content just when I need it. So coming in here, I'm just going to go through the different asset types to give you an idea. With a couple clicks after I've ran my search, you can see the various types of software come up. And for today, I'm just going to focus on Revit 2020. And the different asset types come up here. I'm going to start with documents. Coming into this document here, as we mentioned, those are those quick tips, tricks, one-pagers, reference guides. They might be created in Word, they might be an Excel document, they could be a PowerPoint presentation, a PDF, or even an HTML page that you have created somewhere. One thing worth mentioning here is the share button. We make it very easy for you to share content. You could probably go up and grab that URL. Each page in Pinnacle is a unique URL, which makes it very easy for sharing between users and into other content. But you can copy the links, share in an email. We always say, you know, as you get users to change their habits, they go to the go-to people, right? When they have those questions, they know who to ask. And over time, as you're utilizing Pinnacle Series, you want them to rely more heavily on the documentation and the knowledge that's in Pinnacle Series that frees up those experts to build more advanced documents, to do some of the more advanced training, because they're not having to go through all of that same onboarding fundamentals every week, every month with those users that are coming on board. So when they get asked those questions, the first couple times, we always recommend they come in here, find the answer, share it over to that person that asked. Here's the other area we'll talk about: work groups. If I know this document is something valuable to the project that I'm going to be working on, I'm going to share it to that work group. And now it'll be on the home page for me inside of that work group. I won't have to do this search. And if it's something that I'm really interested in keeping bookmarked on that home page for myself, I can share it to the My Assets area, and it sits in there in my favorites on the home page. I did mention experts. You can also set up your own internal experts for all the various software that is in here. And if you have questions, this doesn't trigger anything, but if I wanted to reach out to Edgar or James, maybe I know who they are, I can shoot them an email and mention I'm still having some problems trying to find the best way to do what I'm working on. We already talked about learning paths, but you can search through training and self-enroll in any of the learning paths or courses. Videos, I think it's just worth jumping into one of the videos to show you a few of the features. We talked about the transcript that plays over here on the right-hand side. The one value of the transcript also comes into play, especially if you've gone through the training already and you know exactly where that part of the video is. You can actually use the transcript here to navigate ahead in the video. I always like to mention, you know, it's hard to show in the demo, but you can imagine I've got Revit open on one screen and I've got my questions and I'm trying to remember, how do I do that specific thing when it comes to modifying the type products? And I come in here to this video, I come to that section, I pause it, I have Revit up on the other screen, and I just kind of walk through those steps and get unstuck, get back to work. I didn't have to pull somebody else out of production. I was empowered to truly find that answer on my own. There are some really nice features here as well where you can make things full screen. There's a few preference settings that you can put in here. And occasionally there'll be some additional reference things underneath of these videos, such as bookmarks or links to other content that get added into there. And the last type of asset that I'm going to talk about is a workflow. And I'm going to do just a little bit of a different search. We've got a lot of workflows out here for you to start with. One that I like to show is truly the collaboration for Revit. And if you come into that one, you'll see it's a kind of a good example of a process that you go through with your tasks, your steps, where you truly want to have everyone going through the process the same way. So we end up with those same deliverables. You get that efficiency of being able to quickly know exactly the process. And then you also have the ability for them to truly dive into each one of those tasks and steps and see the specific screenshots and even some commands, some efficiencies that are built into the Pinnacle Series platform. So you'll notice here, it's a little hard to see. I'm going to zoom into the middle here, but this has the various swim lanes set up. And as a user, I can use these boxes to navigate. If you're like me, I like to see where I'm at in the process, where those decisions are, where I need to hand it off to others in the process. And then as I get into these various tasks, you'll notice everything's kind of, outlined for me. Again, this is one that many clients will copy down. Open the project file. Well, let's put a link in here into your custom one where that project files actually can be found, maybe where they need to save it when they're done. So this is a great way to show how you can really customize these out-of-the-box workflows. I do want to pause for 1 second and just hover over this collaborate command. In many of the documents and almost all of the workflows, you'll find these commands built in to build that efficiency in for Revit, AutoCAD, and Civil 3D. So as a user, again, just imagine I've got my 2 screens up here, and I get into my Revit project here, and wow, it opened up to that Collaborate tab, just to what I need to be working on. So you can imagine I've got Revit on one screen, I've got Pinnacle Series up on the other. I'm walking through this process, get to this task, and I don't even have to like fumble around with all the various tabs here in Revit. It takes me right to what I need to work on. So imagine how much efficiency can be gained, whether you're a new user or you've been doing this process over and over again. We always need those little reminders to keep us on task. And as I said before, again, going into this manage content area, you could very quickly come over here to the workflows, copy that workflow down, and start customizing it for your way of doing things. Just to show you a little bit on the backside, and if I wanted to come in, deciding to work share here, I'm going to click on this task. We have a built-in word editor on the back end here that allows you to come into this area, add, copy, paste, put your own content in here. The great thing about being cloud-based is the minute you start updating all of this content, it starts to update in the platform so your users can start to see the custom way of doing things in here. So that is the customizing and the content piece of it. The other thing I wanted to share with you is the work groups. They're a very valuable way to pull all that information in one place. So you can imagine whether you're somebody new coming on board and you want to have all the right content available for them on day one, or maybe you just won a new bid on a new project and you bring some of the required learning. You want everybody that's gone or that's working on this project to have gone through the same training. So you can actually put this learning path in here and assign it out to those users. You can bring in those videos, project documentation, because it's so flexible, and you can bring in PDFs, Word documents, drag and drop. You can bring some of those project documents and have them easily available here in the work group. And this is a unique URL. So if you have other systems that you use, maybe you use Teams or Planner, you can actually bring this, this page into those areas using this URL here as well. There's a discussion board area so that people can collaborate and talk about the information and the projects that they're working on. And there's 3 levels of membership. So truly having this person that owns the work group, such as the project manager, maybe you add a couple other people on as editors who have that additional ability to add and remove content. And then the members can also consume that content. So they can view the videos, view the learning paths. And then there's a dashboard, looks just like the one that I was showing on the learning path report, where you can see just the people that are in the work group and how they're going through the training or accessing the content that's in there. There's also the ability to invite some external members if you needed to share this with a couple sub-Ks that were working with you and you wanted to make sure they're trained and up to speed so you're audit ready. You could invite them into this work group and they could see that actual, all of the assets that are in there and actually go through that training as part of this work group. Just a few other features to go through before we end the demonstration today. I can see everything over here, those live events that are coming up. That's a quick way to see all the training that goes with my e-learning. The My Assets area, again, those are my favorites. That's a quick place for me to put those documents that I want to, and learning that I want to refer to quickly. One thing worth mentioning here is putting things into the My Assets area also sets those up for offline viewing when I'm internet free. Maybe I'm going to be on a public transportation and I've got some time to kill to kind of go through and want to go through some of the training. I can actually go into the My Assets area, select part of this MEP fundamentals that I'm enrolled in, download that for offline viewing, and it will sit here in this offline viewer on my laptop. I can do it on my phone or my tablet, and it stays there for up to 14 days. And I can actually go through the learning path, watch all the content, watch those videos. Maybe there's a project document that I need, and I know the site that I'm going on to has very little internet access or poor cell reception. Download that checklist before you head out to the site, and now you've got it right at your fingertips. I can also create my own documentation. If you're not a content manager and you don't have all of the tips and tricks ready to go sitting out there, as things come up, you can come in and make your own quick how-to document here, add in a description of those 2 or 3 steps that you go through, save it, and it sits out here in the browser. I've got my daily checklist out here. How do I get onto the VPN at home? Those types of things that are just personal to me, my little tips and tricks that I like to keep. Back on the managerial side, there is another spot that we spend a lot of time looking at usage reports, because truly want to make sure you're getting the value out of your platform and using it. So coming into here, much like the learning path reports, I can see all the history of logins over the past year, what types of searches are being done. Very valuable as you're doing your curriculum mapping, as you're trying to decide what other types of training do we need to provide, what are users searching for, and you can narrow it down to who's doing the searches by the types of content that are being accessed, when it's being accessed. And just like the learning path reports, all of the raw data is being tracked behind the scenes, all the picks and the clicks, so that you can truly make sure everyone's accessing the content that you intend them to access. If you publish something new, you can make sure that they are reviewing that content and truly adding it to their skill set. The other thing worth mentioning here on the admin utility, I'm not going to dive into that, but we make that user admin piece super simple. Being able to sync with your Active Directory, bring those users in and remove them as needed, setting up single sign-on so that users don't have to remember a separate password when they get into Pinnacle Series. And last but not least, one of my other favorite features of Pinnacle Series, because I know it's not always on someone's thoughts to log into Pinnacle Series the moment that they start working on their projects, but they are going to be logging in to their Autodesk products and working along in their projects. So I was on the Collaborate tab here, and I'm going to go in and just pretend that I'm working on this project right here. Now let's say, gosh, I'm really not sure. I think there's a specific way I'm supposed to do this. This box was sitting down here in my toolbar. It's called Related Learning Topics. And as a user, if I need that extra help, maybe I'm a newer user, or maybe I'm that user that's been using it for a long time, but I know that you've got a very high profile government contract or a client that has a specific way of doing things that I need to make sure I follow whenever I'm working on walls. And it'll pop up for me inside of this Related Learning Topics. I can click on this, opens up Pinnacle Series. I can dive right in and takes me right to that specific piece of content or that video or that workflow, so that you can truly ensure that you're following the appropriate standards. That was just a quick demonstration of how the tool can take you into those types of things. Now, as a user, if I don't want to have this, I can just tuck it back down into my toolbar, and it's really there for me when I need it. So between the efficiencies back and forth, the Autodesk plugins, it's truly a way to keep everyone efficient. So that's the demonstration. We'll go back to the PowerPoint, but if anyone has any questions or any questions in the chat, Rose, before we go back into the presentation.
I believe there's a question coming in right now. The question is about English being the only language. No, there's 65 languages in the platform. So Cantonese is definitely one that you can change your language to. So Mary is showing that right now. So there's a couple of languages in your region that you can select. So when you go to that user profile, you'll be able to select that language. Then the second question, there's a dashboard for the admin, but how can I as a user get track my own learning process? So we have our a specific area in here, and Mary is showing this for us. So here you can see exactly the courses you are enrolled in, what you've completed and what you are still working on. If there's any quizzes, you'll be able to see how you did on the quizzes, and you can see all that information right here in the platform. Then the third question, before enrolling into a new course, can we know how long it will take to complete it? That's a great question. And yes, you can definitely see how much time it would take to go through all the content. So Mary is pulling up a Revit structure fundamentals example. And yep, so right there, it shows you 6 hours. So that's what we estimated to take. Of course, there's no timer that's gonna go off if you take too long. So you can take your time, but it will tell you how long it's gonna take and how long every individual piece is going to take. And just so you know as well, you can always go back in later and complete it later. You don't have to finish anything in one setting.
Yep. Great, thanks, Rose. And if someone's just looking for a specific course, they can enroll in all, so they can enroll in the entire fundamentals and have it sitting out there for them to go through, or they can pick and choose. Maybe they know they've got some things coming up and they want to brush up on the walls course or the structural project setup. I can pick and choose and just enroll in specific courses based on what project work I know I have coming up. From that standpoint. Good questions. Anything else? Device will jump back into the PowerPoint here. Something comes up, please put it in the chat. All right, Rose, do you want to cover some of these options?
Yeah, I actually think that Gloria will be
Or
covering
Gloria?
this. Yeah.
All right, so Gloria, are you going to share your screen or do you want me to go through these slides?
Please go on to share your screen. Thank you. So I have to thank Rose and Mary showing how Pinnacle Series can help us. I can see that it's really help to provide companies as essential pay for facilitate their training or expand their staff training on particular AEC software, especially AEC. Sorry, the Autodesk product. I can see that there's a very extensive library, many products. I can name the under order that have been included. So thank you very much for your sharing. So let me introduce the two license versions available for Pinnacle Series. So you can see that it is a feature comparison of Pinnacle Lite, LT, the Lite version, and the full version Pinnacle Series. So even if you just subscribe to the Lite series, you can still access to the robot search engine. So you can have the multiple languages as shown by Mary earlier. You can choose English, even for Chinese, you can choose from Cantonese, simplified Chinese, or also and other more than 16 languages available. So you can also have the training of what your other teammate is doing. So maybe you have to catch up with your knowledge as well. And also we have to start after you complete the training and also have your own content to your My Access. So, but if you are looking for a system, addition to an e-learning system, you want to have a large management system for your company as well. So Pinnacle Series full version will be possible for you because you see that addition to the Pinnacle Lite feature, all advanced feature and also other customization feature are available. So you also can see from next slide, for both Lite version and full version have been preloaded with the Autodesk Library. So you can see the whole product list right now, all available for you. And also for the Autodesk Library, it includes the Bluebeam, Ideate, Enscape, V-Ray library as well. If you need additional library for other software, the popular one will be Many, Vinyl, SketchUp, or Microsoft, or you were also looking for some standard library, for example, the business management skill, the health and safety, and the new one, BIM, global BIM standards. You just need to add a few hundred to get it. So you can see that it is the annual subscription cost for each user in Hong Kong pricing. You can see for the LT, the light version, it just cost you less than 1,000. Even you go to the full version, it's just cost you 2,000 only for each user. So actually, you can imagine that it's not that cost for you to use Pinnacle Series as your company e-learning and KMS system. Okay, so you have interested on using Pinnacle Series. I hope that you will. So we have a special exclusive offer to all attendants and registered of this webinar today. So after this webinar, we will send you an email login to our Forida Pinnacle Series until the end of this year. So you will get a full access to all features and the library that's available. So you can try out all library as you wanted. And of course, if you have any questions, you can get back to us. So after you trying the Pinnacle Series, you confirm to subscribe the license to us. Usually, we only have the designated success manager for account more than 15. But for this special offer, that will be your success management support in Hong Kong, wherever how many pieces set or how many seats of subscription you will going to confirm. So I hope that you will have happy on using and a great experience on using Pinnacle Series. So do you any other people have the question as well? So while we are waiting, other friends to send us a question. So here you can see that in the pop-up window, we have a pool here. So I appreciate you can help to fill in the survey. Your feedback will be very important to us. There are only 6 questions in this survey, so I hope you can spend a minute to explain it. If you have any question, feel free to send your question in our Q&A session or both. Okay. Right, for any inquiry after the webinar, yes. So let me share the screen again. Okay, so after this webinar, if you have any question about Pinnacle Series, feel free to contact us by email. We have 2 emails and support to you. You can send to pinnacle.support@forida.com.hk or customer.services@forida.com.hk. So we're happy to assist on your inquiry. So if we don't have further question here, we will end the webinar today. We thank you very much for your time for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.